Hello and welcome to Long's Toys. I have a Transformers Robots in Disguise review for you today. This is Warrior Class Sideswipe. I was very excited to get hold of this figure. He's one of my favorite characters on the show, and it's weird to me that being one of kind of the main 5 Autobots on the show, it took him till Wave 3 to get a release, so I thought that was a little weird. I mean, we got Drift first, which he's not even on the show yet, so I don't know. Weird to me, but finally here he is. As you can see, not really much going on with the packaging. Here's his 10 steps to conversion from robot to, not really sure what kind of car it is, but I think it looks pretty cool. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get him out of the packaging and take a closer look. Alright, so here we have Sideswipe out of the packaging, and I do think that the robot mode looks pretty good. He's only got a little bit of card kibble here on the back. And there is the big Autobot symbol you can scan for the Robots in Disguise app. He's got nice big heels, so he can stand pretty well, which is always nice. I even kind of like these little, you'll see it's parts of the hood of the car that stick up. And I like the detailing on the chest. I think the paint here is nice. The blue really pops against the red. I think that all looks pretty great. We'll take a quick look at the head sculpt, which I think looks pretty good. It's nice silver paint with the blue eyes. Unfortunately, mine's kind of a little bit of a bobblehead because the pin that the ball joint is on is just kind of loose in the plastic. The head can still turn from side to side, but it's really tight, and then this thing just kind of jiggles, which is kind of a bummer. But that's not the real main issue with this figure. It has to do with how the shoulders lock into the chest, and the fact that they kind of don't. And the reason for this is, I will pull this down so you can see, there are 2 little tabs here on the chest down here, and 2 little peg holes, and then there are 2 pegs, one on each shoulder here. So this is supposed to go up like this, and it's a little difficult because these arms kind of get in the way. And the shoulder joints are very tight. You can see that there's up and down movement, and also there's, swivel here at the arm. The swivel and the other joint are very tight, and because of that, anytime you try to move it, it kind of means to pull this away. Now the 2 pegs here on the shoulders are just not long enough, and as a result of that, they don't peg into this piece here very well, so they don't stay in place very well. I mean, if you can kind of get it in place and get the pose you want by applying pressure on the back, then you can have him and he looks great. But if you try to move the arm, it's going to end up moving the whole thing because the pegs just aren't long enough. Or maybe there's just the hole's a little too big and there's not enough friction to keep it in place. I'm not really sure. But it's a shame because it really would be a great figure if not for that. If you could move, I mean, you can still move the arms. You just kind of have to hold them from the back to get him into the pose you want. And it's kind of a mess. But if you can get him in a pose you like, he'll stay that way. It's not like they fly all about. It's just anytime you try to move the arms, he kind of automatically untransforms. So you have to kind of put up with that, which is a shame. Because everything else about the figure I really like. It's just that one problem. Just the pegs were just a little bit longer. Now he does come with this accessory. It is kind of a giant sword like he uses on the show. And you can go ahead and put that into his hand like this. And he wields that pretty well and it looks pretty good. He also has a spot in the back here, which I will try to show you. It is right here, right there. If you go ahead and put this in and slide it in, you'll see it kind of slides in on a diagonal. And then he can have his sword on his back, which I think looks pretty good. I always appreciate when characters with swords have a way to store them, especially on the back. I think that always looks the coolest. So yeah, overall, I really do like the look of the robot mode. I like the... Well, I was going to say I like the design, but And most of the engineering design I like. It's just those shoulders. It's just a shame because if that was perfect, if they locked in nice and tight, this would be a great robot mode. It really would. That's the only thing keeping this robot mode down. But we'll move on to the transformation. So I actually really like Sideswipe's transformation. I think it's pretty cool. And it's fairly simplistic. You're going to start by pulling down this front piece, because that's going to release everything that's not even really pegged into place up here. But then you're going to take these out, and this piece is going to swivel around 180, and that's going to show the kind of front like headlights of the car. So you're going to repeat that with both of them. Then you're going to kind of straighten out the car here until everything's, kind of flush, till it kind of connects together. And then you're going to kind of leave them out to the side for now. Come down to the legs, and you're going to kind of just move these so you have clearance to spin. This part here with the wheel and the foot are all connected. This part will not move. So that's going to spin around and then peg into, well, I should say spin around and kind of form the back of the car like that. So that's going to spin around, and then this will fold back and become the back of the car. So once you have those, you can pin those together. This part is going to go forward a little bit, and you can see where it's going to fit with that. And then this will fit with that. So you can see the kind of cars lined up now. And then you're just going to rotate these forward. And then there's just sure up the little tabs and make sure all the panels fit into place. There's a tab here and a tab here. Make sure that they all go in. Sometimes it's a little tougher than it should be, but once you get them all in place, it will look pretty good. Oh, this is why. For some reason this locked back. You have to make sure that stays down. Somehow during the transformation that fell back forward, and it should not have. There we go. You just have to, there's a couple key places. Right here, there are two tabs that will fit into two slots on the hood. So you want to make sure that they go in nice and tight. And then the two tabs here that tab into the leg. Or I should say, fit with the feet here. And make sure that this stays down. But there you go. You have a pretty cool looking car mode. Now I really like the design of this car mode. I think it's kind of boxy and sleek all at the same time. I really, really do like the design of it. I think it's really neat how the feet here become the kind of back hood of the car, or back roof of the car, I should say. I'm not really sure what the point of the kanji are on the back. I guess it's just a design style choice. Now the other problem with this figure is the kind of weird way that the arms, the doors where the arms are, this hood piece and this other, both doors and the hood piece, are like a weird different color red than the rest. This is kind of a darker red, and these are kind of a pinkish red. I don't know if that was done on purpose, if it's to try to add shading or something, or it's just a little weird. I mean, at least it's symmetrical, I'll say that. It's just, in my opinion, it would have looked better if it was all the same color red. I'm not really sure why that is lighter. Probably just because different plastic was made separate from the rest of the figure, and then when they got put together, they went, oh well, what are you going to do? I don't know. Now, you can store the sword if you like. You can go ahead and pop that on in that little slot right there. It does not store underneath, unfortunately. So, and it kind of falls off a little bit easily, but it can go in there. Otherwise, I do really like the design of the car mode. I think it's pretty neat. So while I do still like this figure, it's a bit of a letdown. I mean, I do really like the design of the robot mode in just aesthetics. I do like the character from the show, so that's also bleeding over into my like of the toy. And I like the paint. I really do like the blue on the robot mode. I think that looks really good. I like the sword that he comes with. I like that he can store it on his back. And I really do ultimately like the design of the car mode. I think that's a really cool, kind of boxy, sleek design. But if you're going to pick this figure up, you absolutely have to know about the shoulder problem with the peg, you know, not pegging into the chest. It's just, does it make the toy unplayable? No, I wouldn't say that. You can definitely get him in a pose you like, put him on a shelf and enjoy how he looks. If you're a kid, it might be frustrating that if you're constantly playing with it, if the shoulders keep popping out. But kids probably don't care as much because as long as they can still have fun with the toy and transform it back and forth, it doesn't hinder the transformation at all. You know, if anything, it kind of aids it because it makes it a little bit easier to transform into car mode. But yeah, it's just a shame that happened. If they would have made those pegs just a little bit longer, or made the friction, you know, for the peg to peg into the hole a little bit tighter, it really could have been avoided. And it's a little thing that becomes kind of a major issue because it really just hinders the arm movement with the articulation. It's just a shame because it really, if you can kind of use a little bit of pressure to keep it in there and then you can move the arms around and get the pose you want. Yeah, it's just kind of a shame. I did forget to mention that he does have a kind of a hinge and forward and back in the hip, and then kind of a thigh swivel, and then 90 degrees at the knee. And then obviously the ankles can move because of the transformation I showed you. I did forget to go over his leg articulation, just because I was kind of obsessed with the shoulders. But like I said, if you can just apply a little pressure when you want to move the shoulders, it can be worked around. The problem can be dealt with. And this still can be a fun toy of a character that I really enjoy. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if you think the shoulders are a deal breaker or if it's something you can live with. I'd love to hear your opinions on the matter. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Warrior Class Sideswipe from Robots in Disguise, and thanks for watching.